Previously on A Very Odd Caster.
Since we last met, the time changed. And so now, of course, it's hammer time. I had sex for an hour and 40 seconds last night. Thanks, daylight savings.
Dumb, idiotic, and useless.
My son has been a big help so far. I asked him, son, can you go get me my hat? And he said, sure, Dad. And he came back and he gave me this, which is Woody's hat from Toy Story. Keep up the good work, son. Oh, I'm just kidding. That's just a story. He didn't do that. I'm just joking, man. He gave me one of Barbara Streisand's hats. No, I'm joking there too. I just can't stop joking. And I have to screw first. Nothing like screwing first. There we go. If I can get it in there. That's what she said. Just getting the screw started is the hardest part, as I've always found. Yep, that's right. But enough about me. There better not be any brown recluses up there, because this ain't worth, getting bit by a brown recluse. Maybe a polka dot recluse. That might be worth it.
A French man cleaning trash from a beach found a message in a bottle that had been authored by a Massachusetts fifth grader 26 years earlier. However, the message was written in English, so the Frenchman couldn't understand it, and he pitched it back into the ocean. What is this? I do not understand this. And then at one point, we watched a movie on childbirth. And so I was, as usual, making comments and cracks. And the teachers, cracks. I was making cracks in a movie about childbirth. That's right, kids. All of a sudden, I started to feel kind of, it's hot in here. Yeah. I had a tie on, I don't usually wear a tie, unless I'm going to be gardening. No. I wasn't waiting. I just walked by her and just said, I need to go to the bathroom. And I took 3 steps and down goes Castor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello again and welcome to another edition of A Very Odd Caster, brought to you live from Caster's Pub. And this, of course, is the holiday edition, the December edition of A Very Odd Caster. And of course, 'tis the season. And, this time of year, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of craziness, but a lot of fun too. Still, at my age, I still like Christmas. I still like the season, even though it's insane. And there are a lot of peaks and valleys, if you know what I mean. It's actually quite remarkable that at my advanced chronology, that I still enjoy Christmas so much. You know, it could have gone in a totally different direction. And that goes back to something that happened a long, long time ago. Many, many Christmases ago. And that is another stupid-ass thing from my childhood. So, I'm pretty sure I was 3 years old. And that's pretty much peak time for Santa, right? Preschoolers. I mean, that's when Santa is the thing. But my sister had other ideas. My sister's 2 years my senior. She ruined it for me, basically, when I was 3. And she was only 5. I mean, she was still pretty young, too. But she was, perhaps still is, one nosy human being. And so she was hunting around, digging around in the basement storage area way back in the day. And she came across some presents that were wrapped. This was a week or two before Christmas. It wasn't long before Christmas, but it was before Christmas. It was before December 24th, when Santa makes his journey across the globe. So she was rummaging through things she shouldn't have done, and she found a present that said, to Castor from Santa. And she could not contain herself. She came running out, and there I was watching some cartoon on TV, probably a snot dribbling out of my nose or something. And she runs up and said, "Guess what? There's no such thing as Santa Claus." And I'm like, "Fuck you talking about?" You know? I mean, like, and she broke the news to me that she found a present wrapped up with a tag on it that said, "To me, from Santa." And I'm like, well, maybe, he came early. And she's like, I'm like, all right, okay. So then what followed was this little scene where my mother was up doing something in the house, working her ass off, I'm sure. And these two little boogers, ages 5 and 3, started running around in a big circle. We'd run through the kitchen. I guess she was in the kitchen. And we'd say, "There's no such thing as Santa." And we'd run out of the room. You know, and my mom's like, "Huh?" And we'd run back through again and do it again. "There's no such thing as Santa." You know, we weren't distraught about it. It was sort of like, we figured it out. Like, we're really smart, you know. But, so I guess I came out of it okay. But still, could have been a traumatic situation. I was too young to not believe in Santa, I think. You know, some people may differ. They may think that, you should never push that. And I know some kids who are getting a little too old for that. And you're like, "Kid, think about it." But anyhow, a lot of people, when I tell them that story, they're like, "That's so sad." It wasn't sad. It just happened, you know. But yeah, it might have been nice to enjoy the myth a few more years. But at any rate, that is another stupid-ass thing from my childhood. But as I said, I still love Christmas. I love all of it, you know. And, there's something to be said about a time of year that people act nicer to each other. And for that part alone, that sells me on the spirit of Christmas. When I was a kid, this is Not necessarily another stupid ass thing from my childhood. It could be. But I love the old Christmas specials, particularly the claymation specials. And I thought, wouldn't it be kind of neat to play a little game here? I am going to quote something from one of these Christmas specials, and you out there in the hinterlands, the ethers of the wherever you are, need to guess which Christmas special or holiday special the quote comes from. Okay, so we're going to do a few of these, and we're going to see how smart you are with your Christmas holiday TV special trivia. Number 1, what program did this line come from?
I want to be a dentist.
If you said Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you win! Number 2, what Christmas show featured a character named
Burgermeister Meister Burger.
If you said Santa Claus is coming to town, you win! Number 3, what Christmas show featured this line? Happy birthday! Huh? If you said Frosty the Snowman, you win.
Humpity dumpity dumpity do. Look at that Frosty go.
We gotta work on that Durante thing. Okay. Next. What Christmas show did this line come from?
What I'm trying to say is, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you pick that pimple tonight?
No, that isn't actually what was said. But I always wondered if that was a zit on Rudolph's nose. All right, here's one that might stump the band. What holiday program did this line come from?
In the whole vast configuration of things, I'd say you were nothing but a scurvy little spider.
If you said It's a Wonderful Life, you would be correct. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, what about this song? Put one foot in front of the other foot. If you said Santa Claus is coming to town, you win. All right, I think that's run its course. But the holiday season does bring us a lot of highs and lows. You're reminded of the sad shit, but you're also reminded of the things you're blessed with, of course. And that's why I created this meme. It's one of these memes and things. And this meme is a little commentary on the ups and downs of the season. It is called, yes, that's right, the Bipolar Express. Everyone hops aboard that train at some point or another during the month of December. And I am no exception. Comedy, tragedy, comedy, tragedy, comedy, tragedy. 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 Who's, I just, my jaw's stuck. Excuse me while I chew up this ice cube. What holiday season would be complete without lots of shopping, right? And this time of the year, it's a happy thing, right? You're buying for people you love or that you owe a favor to or something. And anyhow, it's all coming from a good place, right? But shopping doesn't always come from a good place. And that is the focus of this edition's musical review. But before I go into that, I must first retreat into another room. Well, welcome again to some hotel. Yeah, so we're going to do another analysis of a original song. And this takes us back to the good old days of March of 2020. Why is March of 2020 the good old days? Oh yeah, that was when everything shut down. It was the beginning of COVID. And so everybody trapped in their houses and whatnot, and that includes me. And so I proceeded to write like 10 songs over the next month that were COVID related in some form or another. And you can access these songs on SoundCloud or perhaps someday on Spotify. Shopping for the Apocalypse, which is a reggae bit. I'd used an old drum beat, which is a reggae drum beat, and went. And then, man, this was the real deal, because this is what happened when things got shut down. I mean, the whole words of this song are dealing with it, and dealing with the stunning realization that when it comes to supplies and things like that, people they're pigs. I mean, they freaking raided all the toilet paper. Do you remember that? They raided all the toilet paper. They took it home and I gotta take all sorts of shits. But it wasn't just toilet paper. It was bread. It was all sorts of shit. I mean, people really showed their worst form in March of 2020. And it kept going throughout the whole year. I mean, it was a bad year. But this song, Shopping for the Apocalypse, was a bitterly dry song. The streetlights are out all along the boulevard. The man with the megaphone said, "Don't you leave the yard." So yeah, that's basically the man with the megaphone is, guess who? The government.
Well, the streetlights are out all along the boulevard. The man with the megaphone says, "Don't you leave the yard. Don't shoot them," he says, "unless you see the whites of their eyes. You thought they were your neighbors till you saw through their disguise. They were shopping for the apocalypse."
Don't you leave the yard. Don't shoot them, he said, unless you see the whites of their eyes. You were your neighbors till you saw through their disguise. That is a poisonous line, but it's right truth. You thought they were your neighbor till you saw through their disguise. In other words, you're in the grocery store, you're like, my kid's got the stomach flu. I need to cut a little bit of toilet paper. And they're like, fuck you. What happened to us in 2020, people?
You thought they were your neighbors till you saw through their disguise. They were shopping for the apocalypse. Shopping for the apocalypse. Shopping for the apocalypse. Last call.
And then the chorus, of course. Shopping, because that's what they were doing now. It's like, it's not the apocalypse. The media is telling you it's the apocalypse, but here we are, man, behaving like it's the apocalypse. Even if it was the apocalypse, you're supposed to help each other. Shopping for the apocalypse. So that's, I don't know what it was. But man, it's open to interpretation. Now that I think about it, it could be the sound of the air going out of the U.S. balloon or the world's balloon.
Shopping for the apocalypse. Last call.
So the second verse was the second verse. Speak more kindly of your elders, but they might not survive. The Charmin truck is taking a dump and burying you all alive. Do unto others as they would do for you.
They would do to you. So I'll grab the last loaf of bread and the toilet paper too, 'cause I'm shopping for the apocalypse. Shopping for the apocalypse. Shopping for the...
Yeah, so that's, woo. Oh, man, it's a cynical song. Speak kindly of your elders because they might not survive, because, it was clear from early on that elderly people in COVID were not a good mix. Then the Charmin truck is taking a dump and burying you all alive. Well, that's a black humor on the freaking toilet paper run, right? The Charmin truck pulls up outside the grocery store and all these freaking idiots are going out with 18 rolls of toilet paper, and the Charmin truck just dumps all this freaking toilet paper, and then these pigs are there. It's the Charmin truck, and they get buried all alive. It didn't really happen, but it seemed like it was gonna. And I'm not exaggerating. I might be being a dick about it because that's what I do best.
Well, the glass is not half empty, nor is the glass half full. The glass is in the ocean, you can feel the riptides pull. True colors shine more brightly when all the chips are down. I'd hate to see the way you'd act if I was about to drown. You'd be shopping for the apocalypse. Shopping for the apocalypse. Shopping for the apocalypse. Last call.
Charmin truck is taking a dump and burying you all alive. Do unto others. Then you get, spiritual, biblical, religious. Do unto others as they would do to you. Right? You're in this crisis. You're surviving. There's people scared. Do unto others as others would do to you. So I'll grab the last loaf of bread and the medicine too. I'd like to say I have more faith in the human race than what we saw in COVID, but I'm really worried that we're not there. I don't know why. I mean, I thought 9/11 we were like really there. In other emergencies, earthquakes and floods and whatnot, we seemed to rally. But COVID, man, we were like scary.
Last call.
Attention shoppers. The store will be closing in 15 minutes. Please make your final selections and take them to the checkout counter. We'll be opening our doors tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We should have more toilet paper at that time. Unless I take it all.
What holiday special would be complete without a flashback to the good old days of COVID? And now we'd like to take a moment to continue our series on DIY, dumb, idiotic, and useless. This is the fourth installment of DIY, dumb, idiotic, and useless. And to provide a little context, last summer we closed down Castor's Pub for renovations. And if you saw the place prior to the renovations, you're obviously stunned at how little it's changed. But one thing we did do was in the studio that is adjacent to the bar here. Studio, of course, right? I, although it was kind of like multiple personalities in there something. I put in a ceiling in that studio, and it was quite an adventure because I'm not a handyman. That's what she said. I couldn't resist. But so now we've done 3 installments, and this was taped back in the summer, which explains my farmer's tan. And so now we're going to do the 4th part, and to bring you up to speed, the first 3 parts were leading up to actually starting to put up some of the drywall. So we've gotten to that point, and we're getting very close to actually putting the ceiling on. And this is where it gets a little dicey. Well, anything look different to you? That's right, I cleared out the jellyfish. I used extra strong HVAC duct tape and retaped all that insulation up there. So tomorrow is supposedly the day. The day. I've got a couple more things to do. I've got to disconnect that light, as I mentioned, and unscrew the light bulb, and then measure. That's going to be a tough measure because I've been screwing up the measurements left, right, up, and down. And I've got to measure on that piece of drywall where that light bulb is. And if I screw it up, I'm worried about that. I'm also worried about the support blocks I put in there. I showed them to you earlier. Excuse me. Let's see, where are we? Oh, there we are. There's one there. There's 2 there. And there's 3 there. And as you can see, they're just hanging there because there's no way to fasten them. I can't get in there. It's a similar problem as with my friend the beam. There's no way to get in there. And this time there is no way to get in there. I can't raise my hand enough. Here, you don't believe me? So I can't raise my hand enough to hold a hammer and go gee, 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 gee. I also can't raise my hand enough to get a drill there. So there's no way to attach the other end of this that would provide that support. As I said, the key is going to be this joist, which is 7 1/4 inches away from the wall. The only other way I could have done, now that I think about it, is I'm getting tired of going on this ride. The only other way I could have done it was basically what I did do, except a longer piece. Now this was as wide as that wood was, that piece of lumber. So if I got a longer piece and did the same thing, having an idea. Drill it in, it extends here, and then it catches there. Well, you still have the problem, though, of drilling up into it, but at least the support would be there. All right, I may not be done there. I may not be done. But I am done with the jellyfishes. So there. It's a win. This is the part of the story where it's looking grim for our hero. That's right. I've begun trying to install the ceiling and have run into major issues. Here, I'll show you. Not being an architect or an engineer, I did not account for the intense weight of the drywall. And so getting it to stay put was a little tricky. Here, let me show you. So let's see. Let's just do this. There is our first slab of drywall. And there's me. So my son was helping me, and it wasn't working out. It wasn't his fault. It was just the weight of this 4x8 piece of drywall. It was falling through the screws, and there's only 2 of us. 2. And so he couldn't be all over the drywall to hold it flat, right? So he could only apply pressure in certain spots. And of course, I could only drill in certain spots. So quickly, the thing was falling out. And that's where the big ladder came in. I originally thought he was going to stand on that ladder and he could just hold it and I just go around. That ladder, as you can see, is damn ass tall. Almost doesn't fit in the room. In fact, if you close it up, so if you see, it's totally open. And that's the only way it'll fit in this room, for gosh sake. So, this is the part that's grim. I've already been to Home Depot to look at other alternative ceilings. Didn't come up with much. Came up with the smaller pieces thing, but I'm thinking there's no way that all these joists are even. So if I put all these things up, they're all gonna be, right? Plus, I don't wanna buy all those things. And then I have to run some more support beams between the joists. I don't wanna deal with that. So I came up with a mantra as I sat here contemplating whether to get an early start on drinking for this weekend. And here's my mantra. All we are saying is give drywall a chance. So, that's what I'm doing. I'm painstakingly, my son's gone, he's at a concert. So it's just me and my ladder and a nice piece of 1.5 inch thick board that I put there to apply more pressure up there. So I'm going down the rows here, screwing screws in almost all the way, but not quite, and seeing what happens. And if it doesn't work, I'm screwed. No pun intended. It's getting really intense, isn't it? I look forward to the next installment of DIY, dumb, idiotic, and useless. Now, we're gonna pivot back into the holiday spirit here. In fact, I'm going to don my Christmas hat. Don't I look ridiculous? And the reason I'm donning a Christmas hat is it's time to pour the annual glass of eggnog and Jack Daniels. For my money, this is just about the best Christmas drink there is. And I know a lot of people don't like eggnog because it's very thick. And to be honest with you, when January comes along, I've had enough. I'm like, ugh. You know, it's if you're looking to gain a few pounds, there is no better thing. But in my view, it's tasty. So there's a lot of different brands of eggnog. Southern Comfort's great. Turkey Hill's what I happen to have here. And so basically we take a drinking glass there of medium size capacity and shake up that eggnog. My instructions. So then we just give us a little pour there. We want to fill it about 3/4, I think. Yeah, see that? About 3/4. You know, I mean, if you want a stronger drink, of course you can do it, but it's actually fairly early in the morning right now here in Mountain Time. Except I'm not in Mountain Time, but it's still morning. And you take your Jack. The things we do for a very odd caster. And then I just I'm not going to make this one that strong because I'm not in the mood for drinking right now. Just not. But you pour it in like that, a little bit nice, yeah. Swimming around, Jack swimming around in there. Ooh, yeah. Make sure you cover up your... Then you take your spoon. You always need a spoon to stir, unless you use your finger, which I wouldn't recommend. We don't know where that finger's been. Stir it around. I always stir on the bottom, and I stir on the sides and at the top. I want to really mix that. Now let's just taste the consistency here. Yes, a nice blend of eggnog and Jack Daniels. Good shit. Good shit indeed. Here's looking at you, kid. And now, we're going to close out by looking ahead to the New Year, New Year's Eve. First of all, I have to touch on the college football playoff. So there's a lot of controversy this year. This is the last year only 4 teams can make. You have a pen in your hand and you grow fingers, right? Edward Pluma hands. 4 teams make the playoffs. This is the last year of that, thank God. And there's always teams that are barely left out of it. And but never has there been a situation like this year where you've had, a couple of teams, including an undefeated team, that are shut out of it. So, Alabama beat Georgia, the 2-time defending champion, and the number 1 ranked team going into the SEC championship. Alabama beat them, not by a lot, but they beat them. So Georgia's out. Now, a disclaimer, I attended the University of Georgia, so I'm perhaps a bit biased, and I don't know what else you could do, but how is Georgia not a playoff team? But they're not. Alabama is in there, and they won it on the field, so I suppose they deserve it, except that they lost earlier this season to Texas, who lost not too long ago to, I think, Oklahoma. And yet Texas had to make it because Alabama had to make it. So you see, this is all crazy. So Alabama and Texas are in. And then Washington out west, they're undefeated. They won their conference. They won their regular season title. They won the championship game. And so they're in. And so that's 3. Time out for a little eggnog. And then, of course, there's Michigan. Undefeated. They beat Ohio State. Barely. But they did. So they're in. So you don't really have a problem with the teams that made it. It's Georgia being obviously one of the best teams, probably better than 3 of the other teams, and maybe all 4. If they had a rematch against Alabama, I think they could have beaten them. But then you had Florida State, undefeated, shut out. And then there was a couple other teams. Ohio State only lost 1 game, and they didn't lose it by much. And they beat some good teams. I mean, and so Texas got in with 1 loss. Bama got in with 1 loss. And Ohio State didn't with 1 loss. And Georgia didn't. It's kind of messed up. So next year, of course, they've figured out a solution. They're going to expand the field to 12 teams. Now you're going to have mediocre teams in the playoffs. Now, the answer is right in front of your nose. You double the amount of teams to 8, and that's your playoff. But no, that's precisely what they'll be expecting us to do. Oh, God. I don't know. That and, USC joining the Big Ten, I don't know. It's pretty screwed up. Excuse me. So, there you have it. That's my take on the college football thing. You got Alabama versus Michigan. I'll take Alabama. No bias there. Washington and I've already forgotten it. Who's the fucking 4th? Oh, Washington and Texas. I have no idea. I'm going to say Washington, But really, the Bama-Michigan winner is going to take it all. Take that one to the bank. All right. And now we're going to wrap up this edition of A Very Odd Caster with my New Year's resolutions. But first, another sip of eggnog and Jack. You know, I shouldn't drink on the job, but I'm a bartender, so who fucking cares? Now, I decided to take a different tact with my New Year's resolutions this year. You know, these things, every year people come up with a list of very ambitious things to improve themselves, to better themselves in the new year. You know, they're trying to make a positive difference, and then when they start breaking their New Year's resolutions, you know, it all goes in the toilet, you know, and it can get kind of discouraging, you know. So I decided to take a different tact this year. This year, I decided to pick 10 resolutions that are counterproductive for me. That way I won't be disappointed. And so, without further ado, my first New Year's resolution is to gain weight. Yeah, I mean, I always put on some pounds during the holidays. I have no idea why. And then, you know, it's like, oh, I gotta take a few pounds off, right? No, I'm gonna keep gaining weight. So that's my goal. That's my first New Year's resolution, is to gain weight. My second New Year's resolution folds into the first one. My second New Year's resolution is to exercise less. That's right. Exercise is good for people. It does help keep the weight in check. It's great for cardiovascular health, and it makes you feel good. It makes you sleep better, and it has a lot of indirect benefits as well. And, you know, you always see people in January jogging, and they're doing all sorts of stuff, you know. Those same people in 6 months are going to be sitting scratching their crotch on the sofa. I don't know where they're scratching. I don't know. I don't know that for a fact. So my second New Year's resolution is to exercise less. I mean, it's very hard to get a regimen, you know. I'm one who, I love sports. I love playing sports, but I'm no spring chicken anymore. So I'm kind of limited. I've got some ailments from playing sports for decades, you know. So what the hell? I'm just going to exercise less. My third New Year's resolution is to be more impatient when I'm driving in traffic. Now, you know, how many times have you been driving in traffic and you're a little stressed out and you get pissed off and you start swearing at people? You might even flip them the bird, which I wouldn't recommend, but some people do that. And then maybe when you cool down, you're like, you know, why did I do that? I mean, I don't know what's going on with that person. You know, that could be Tiny Tim's father. What's the guy's name in Christmas Carol? You know, I came losing the... I know Tiny Tim was the kid with 3 legs or whatever, but... Never mind. You get my point. So, you know, a lot of times people might say, yeah, I need to get better at that. Not me. My goal is to be more impatient with those motherfuckers. Now, interestingly enough, right after that little swig of eggnog and Jack, my fourth New Year's resolution is to increase my alcohol intake. I mean, what could be better for you, right? Right? That's right. It's my resolutions. I'm not forcing them on anyone else. Okay. And that's a perfect lead into my fifth New Year's resolution, to take up smoking. Because of course. Oh, this next one's good. My sixth New Year's resolution is to swear more when I'm around my kids. Now, what parent hasn't let a bad word slip? You know, you're trying to fix something and accidentally hammer your thumb. You know? I was pretty good at controlling my tongue for quite a while. And then at one point, it just went off the rails, you know? And I can't say I'm happy about that, you know? In a normal year, I'd probably be saying, this is something I need to work on. But not this year, kids. This year, I'm gonna swear more when I'm around my kids. That's right. My 7th New Year's resolution is to go to church less. Although it's pretty difficult to go less than I already do. But why not go for the jugular? My 8th New Year's resolution is to cut back on my household chores. That's right, you know, maybe I just will stop taking the garbage out. Or cutting the grass every week in the summer months. Fuck it. Let somebody else do it. Right? I think that is a New Year's resolution that I can live with. Number 9, my 9th New Year's resolution, to bring up politics with complete strangers. Yeah, that's right. I mean, who doesn't want to talk politics? In fact, social media is awesome. I just love picking it up and seeing some douchebag, who I don't know who they are, lecture me about politics. It's awesome. And my 10th and final New Year's resolution is to fall out of touch with old friends. You know, the days just roll into weeks, which roll into months, which roll into years. And a lot of times we're like, I need to pick up the phone and call so-and-so. I haven't talked to him so long. Damn, he was a good friend. I gotta do better at that. Hey, next year? Nope. My goal is to fall out of touch with my old friends. Because they won't be expecting it. Yeah. That's exactly what they won't be expecting. All right, kids. Anyhow. Well, there you have it. My New Year's resolutions for 2024. Here on A Very Odd Caster, I do wish you the happiest and joyous and most peaceful holiday season. I am now going to go skiing. Now, I can't even stand up on skis, you know. But I just may have some more eggnog and Jack. So, happy holidays to all. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. That's a good time of the year. Oh, oh, have a holly, holly, holly Christmas this year.
Walking high, fist combat, crawling in the trenches, how they hide from the wenches of Pimbleberry. Do you know what I'm talking about?